The Acer X34 is almost my perfect monitor for that mix of gaming and daily productivity. It has pretty much all the right specs I'm looking for, with support for 100Hz and G-Sync support for smooth gameplay, and a gorgeous 34-inch ultrawide with an IPS display that's perfect for productivity. But it's not perfect with its plasticky design and some noticeable coil whine when overclocked. Also, it's still quite pricey at around $1,300 US. Regardless, I still think it's one of the best monitors available in the market today if you need a single display for a mix of gaming and daily productivity. Hi, I'm David, and this is my experience with the Acer X34 ultrawide monitor. On paper, there's a lot to like about this monitor. For day-to-day tasks, the large 34-inch ultrawide 3440 by 1440 resolution is my perfect size to lay out a couple applications. And for gaming, while there are higher refresh rate panels in the market if gaming is your main purpose, the Acer is still very noticeably smooth and clear thanks to being overclockable to 100Hz refresh rate and support for G-Sync if you have an NVIDIA graphics card. But a big reason why the Acer X34, being a couple years old now, still continues to be one of the top gaming ultrawides in the market is because it uses an IPS display. IPS technology isn't perfect, but I specifically prefer IPS displays since they have better viewing angles and don't shift in color as much compared to VA panels when you move off angle, and can even wash out the corners when viewing dead center on such a large display. Another reason why some people prefer these IPS displays over VA is due to the slow pixel response with dark backgrounds that can cause these shadow artifacts during motion in games. But I'll only really notice this if I'm specifically looking for it, and I'm sure this will improve with newer iterations of VA panels. The trade-off though for choosing an IPS panel is the IPS glow that can be seen at night on dark scenes, and keeps it from having good blacks as the VA counterpart. Also, with the Acer X34, you'll need to overclock this panel to 100Hz beyond its native 60Hz refresh rate. This is super easy to do inside the on-screen menu with a couple clicks, but there is a small chance your panel may not go all the way to 100Hz without displaying visual artifacts. Also, another downside I noticed with my monitor when overclocked to 100Hz is that there is a noticeable coil whine buzz when viewing high contrast pages such as black text on white background. It's easily drowned out with a little bit of music or reduced when you revert back to 60Hz refresh rate, but in quiet settings it can be annoying if you're sensitive to these kind of noises. Looking at the physical design of the Acer X34, there are also some things I like and things I don't. The stand is really well built, feels solid, and looks really nice. It has a good amount of adjustments for tilt and height with some basic built-in cable management. It does span quite deep and wide, measuring 31 cm by 58 cm, so it doesn't fit too well on smaller desks. But it does support VESA mounting, which has always been my preferred option to getting a monitor positioned just right anyways. I'm not a big fan of the shiny plastic construction on the back of the display, and it's prone to fingerprints as you would imagine, but at least the front is pretty clean with its thin frame design, minus the large Predator logo up front. The monitor also has built-in LEDs along the bottom, which can be nice given you can choose the color, brightness, and how it blinks at night, although I never really use it in practice. The built-in speakers are okay in a crunch, but they aren't the best I've heard, and I would never recommend them over a dedicated pair. It requires an external power brick, which is some extra cable management to worry about, and port selection on the back is a little limited with just one HDMI and one DisplayPort connector that's required for G-Sync support and overclocking to 100Hz refresh rate. Overall, the Acer X34 is far from the perfect monitor. I don't like the glossy black design, the coil whine gets annoying sometimes, and it's still quite pricey given how old it is. But at that price premium, I still think you're getting one of the best monitors in the market for both gaming and productivity in a single display. Especially if you're like me and prefer an IPS over VA panels for great colors, viewing angles, and pixel response. And while there are other IPS ultrawides in the market that are cheaper if you just need it for productivity, for gaming, the 100Hz refresh rate and G-Sync support really improves the gaming experience on faster paced titles, so until someone comes out with a 144Hz OLED HDR ultrawide monitor, the Acer X34 still continues to be one of my top picks to beat. But hope you guys enjoyed this one. You know what to do, and I'll see you in the next video.